You either shut that mutt up, or I swear, I'll call animal control. That was the first time she ever raised her voice at me. Not to me, exactly, but at my dog. But when I looked into her eyes, I knew. The way she sneered down at him like he was filth. That wasn't about noise. That was hate. I stood on the other side of the kitchen island, holding a bowl of freshly cooked stew for Max, my golden retriever, the only living thing that had stayed by my side when my husband died. When my son moved out. When I was left alone in this creaking house with ghosts in the halls and memories on the shelves. And now? I was supposed to pretend I didn't hear what she just said? You're yelling at a dog, Natalie, I said slowly, my voice like a held-back storm. Is everything okay at work, or do you just hate happiness today? She scoffed and crossed her arms. No, what I hate is being woken up every morning at 6 a.m. by a flea-infested animal barking like it owns the place. I could feel my blood pressure rising. He does own this place. More than you ever will. Oh really? She raised an eyebrow, her lips curling into a smug little smirk. Because last I checked, the deed is in your son's name. You know, my husband? And that's when it hit. The final nail. She meant to say it like that. She wanted me to feel replaced. Like she'd taken over. And for the first time in my life, I didn't back down. You ungrateful little girl, I snapped, stepping around the counter. I fed that boy with my own hands. I worked nights, I cleaned floors, I sold my wedding ring to pay for his college, and you think a paper deed makes you the queen of this house? She didn't flinch. She smiled wider. Oh, don't get emotional, Margaret. Your son and I are building a future. We don't need this. She waved her hand dismissively toward the hallway, toward the family photos, toward Max, toward everything I'd ever built. You're a guest in this house, Natalie. And your future is sitting on a foundation I bled to pour. That's when the shouting started. My son, Eric, came downstairs like a storm had rattled the walls. What's going on now? He asked, rubbing his eyes. She's threatening me, Natalie said quickly, like she'd rehearsed it. And that filthy dog just growled at me again. I don't feel safe here. She's lying, I said immediately, looking at my son, pleading with my eyes to see the truth. Max didn't even move. All I did was defend him. She's exaggerating, Natalie interrupted, stepping behind Eric like a victim. Eric looked between us both, and then shook his head. Mom, can you please keep Max quiet? For once. That was the first time he didn't call me Mom with love in his voice. That was the first time I saw it. I'd already been replaced. In his heart. In his house. I didn't say anything. I couldn't. Max walked to my side, pressed his head against my leg like he always did when I was shaking. And without a word, I turned and walked out. To the back patio. I needed air. I needed silence. But even out there, my ears burned. Inside, I heard Natalie say. She's losing it, Eric. I don't know how much longer I can live with that dog, and with her mood swings. Maybe it's time we take the house. Take the house? I froze. Every cell in my body screamed to go back in and confront her. To throw her out of my home by her hair. But I didn't. I just looked at Max. And in that moment, he looked up at me, and barked. Once. Like he knew. Like he understood exactly what we had just heard. That was the night I made a promise. Not just to myself. But to Max, and to the truth. If she wanted a fight. If she wanted to test me. She had no idea the storm she had just woken. People think time makes you soft. That getting older means you have to stay quiet, be grateful, make room for the next generation. But what they forget is, those wrinkles. Those scars? They aren't signs of weakness. They're proof of survival. And when someone like me, a mother, a widow, a warrior in her own right, is pushed too far? We don't break. We bark. Loud. Every single night. It started the next night. One single bark. Then another. Then a deep, growling rhythm, steady and loud, like a war drum echoing into the dark. Max stood outside Natalie's door at exactly 10:07 p.m. and let the world know he wasn't done yet. At first, I tried to call him back. Max, come here, baby. Let's not stoop to her level. But he didn't move. He just sat, eyes fixed, head tilted, like he could smell something behind that door that I couldn't see. Natalie flung her door open 5 minutes later, red in the face and storming down the hallway like a woman possessed. Oh, for God's sake, control your animal. I am, I said calmly. He just happens to have very good instincts. She narrowed her eyes. Is that your passive-aggressive way of accusing me of something? I shrugged. I didn't say a word. That's just your conscience barking. Max growled. Just a low, barely audible sound from deep inside his chest. But she heard it, and it rattled her. She flinched. And I noticed it. For the first time since she moved in, she looked scared. Not of the dog. Of something else. The next few days? Same routine. Max wouldn't let it go. Every night, same time, he'd sit in front of her door and bark, low and steady, as if trying to tell me something I hadn't caught on to yet. Natalie stopped making snide comments. She stopped laughing when I walked into the kitchen. And every time she passed Max, she stiffened. Maybe there's a rat in the wall, she said one morning, avoiding my eyes. Dogs bark when they sense pests. I raised an eyebrow. Is that what we're calling secrets now? She froze. Just for a second. But it was enough. Then came the fourth night. And that's when everything changed. I woke up to the sound of a scream. Natalie's scream. Eric! Wake up. That dog is scratching at my door now. He's going to break it down. I rushed out in my robe. Eric was already there, holding Max back by the collar, but Max wasn't trying to bite or attack. He was just insistent. He kept pawing the doorframe, barking directly at the corner near the floor. What the hell's gotten into him? Eric shouted. I bent down and looked. At first, I didn't see anything, but Max sniffed harder, louder, then let out a whine that sent a chill through me. Natalie, I said, open your drawer. The bottom one. She blinked at me. Excuse me? The bottom drawer. In your nightstand. Open it. Right now. What, are you serious? You think I'm hiding dog treats or something? Max barked so loud it shook the frame of the door. Eric looked at her. Just open it. She hesitated. That was all we needed. I moved past Eric, walked into her room, and yanked the drawer open myself. And there it was. A small velvet box. Not the kind you'd keep jewelry in. The kind you'd hide something in. Inside, my husband's war medals. His cufflinks. My missing locket, the one I thought I'd lost months ago. What the hell, Eric breathed. Natalie turned pale. I found those under the bed, I was going to return them. In a box? Hidden in a locked drawer? I snapped. I didn't steal them. Then why was my dog barking at your door every night like he was protecting a crime scene? She had no answer. Just silence. Max sat beside me, calm now, his eyes fixed on her like he was finally satisfied. That was the moment I knew. He wasn't just barking at a door. He was barking at a lie. And Natalie? She was no longer angry. She was shaken. The act had cracked. But I wasn't done. I want you out, I said coldly, my voice shaking with fury and heartbreak. You disrespected me. You tried to manipulate my son. And you thought I wouldn't notice you taking pieces of my past and stuffing them into your secret little boxes. Eric didn't stop me. He didn't defend her. Not this time. Mom. I didn't know. I swear. I know you didn't, I said. That's the problem. Natalie stood there trembling, mascara running down her face, mouth twitching like she wanted to scream but couldn't find the words. I'll leave in the morning, she whispered. No, I said, turning around. You'll leave tonight. You can fake smiles. You can fake tears. You can even fake love for a while. But you can't fake what my dog sees. Dogs don't chase noise. They chase truth. And sometimes, the loudest warning comes from the quiet loyalty of the one everyone else ignores. She didn't leave that night. Not really. Oh, she packed a bag and stormed out, slamming the front door behind her like she was making some grand exit, but her car never moved from the driveway. I watched from the upstairs window. She just sat there. In the dark. Engine off. Headlights off. Just waiting. I should have gone to bed. But I knew her type. The kind that doesn't walk away quietly. And sure enough, just after 2 a.m., I heard the back door creak. Max heard it first. A low growl rose in his throat as he padded to the stairs, alert and tense. I didn't turn on the lights. Didn't say a word. I stood in the shadows by the living room as Natalie crept back inside, barefoot, holding something clutched to her chest. At first, I thought it was a purse. But when she moved into the moonlight, I saw it clearly, my husband's old lockbox. The one he'd kept under our bed since the day we were married. The one with the last few things he'd left behind. Letters, a signed property deed, and the original copy of our joint savings. She wasn't just stealing sentimental junk this time. She was going for the real stuff. You always planned this, didn't you? I said quietly, stepping forward. She shrieked and dropped the box. Max lunged forward, barking with the fury of 10 men, his claws scraping the hardwood as he planted himself between us. Natalie fell backward against the dining table. He attacked me. He's crazy. Someone get this animal away from me. I raised my voice. The only crazy thing here is that you thought I wouldn't catch you twice in 1 week. You don't understand, she hissed, face wild. That money, it's ours. Eric told me after you die, everything comes to him. So technically, it's mine too. I was just getting it early. I stood in place, stunned by her audacity. You wanted to bury me before I'm even gone. She looked at me like I was the crazy one. Why do you care? You sit in this old house, clinging to the past like it owes you something. You act like you're some innocent mother-in-law, but really? You're just in the way. I took a breath so deep it hurt my ribs. Maybe I am. But at least I don't lie. I don't steal. And I sure as hell don't smile in someone's face while robbing them blind. She pointed a shaking finger at Max. That dog hates me. He's dangerous. If you don't do something about him, I swear I'll call the cops. Good, I said. Do it. I want them to see the surveillance footage. I want them to see you sneaking in here with your sticky little fingers wrapped around my life's memories. Her mouth dropped open. What footage? I stepped aside, revealing the tiny blinking light on the mantle camera, the one Eric installed years ago just in case. Natalie let out a sound, not quite a sob, not quite a scream, and collapsed into a chair. Please don't show him, she whispered. Eric doesn't know I didn't mean for it to go this far. I felt like you never accepted me. Like I had to fight for space in this family. I walked over and picked up the box. You could have earned that space. But you chose to take shortcuts. She looked up at me, eyes red, lip trembling. So what now? I didn't answer. But Max did, with one last, booming bark that echoed off the walls like a gavel slamming down. It's easy to spot villains in fairy tales. But in real life? They don't wear black capes. They smile in your kitchen. They sit at your dinner table. And sometimes, they marry your son. But truth has a funny way of barking through the lies. Especially when the one watching never needed words to know right from wrong. Eric came home 3 days later. His business trip had been extended, or so Natalie claimed, pacing around the house on the phone with him, pretending everything was normal. But she didn't know that I'd already sent him the footage. Didn't know I'd written him a letter, not to sway him, not to beg, but just to tell the truth. My truth. With no sugarcoating. So when he walked through the door that Sunday afternoon, suitcase in hand, he didn't kiss her. Didn't even look at her. He walked straight toward me, hugged me tighter than he had in years, and whispered in my ear. "I'm so sorry, Mom. I didn't see it." And that's when she knew. Natalie spun around, voice cracking. "Eric? What's going on?" He turned, slowly, like a man facing a courtroom. "You tell me." "Because the woman I married wouldn't sneak into my childhood home and steal from my mother." She flinched. She's twisting things. I only took what was mine." "You told me everything goes to us." "I said after she passes," he said sharply. "You know what that means?" "It means she's not dead yet, Natalie. She's still here, breathing, standing, protecting everything Dad left behind, and all you saw was an obstacle in the way of your payday." Her eyes welled up. "So what? You're going to take her side?" "She didn't lie," he said. "She didn't mock my dog. She didn't try to cut me out of the family with a fake will. She didn't sneak through back doors and blame the barking on bad training." Natalie's jaw dropped. "You think that mutt has a mind of his own?" "No," I said softly. "But he's got instincts. Better ones than most humans." Eric sat down at the dining table, the weight of the truth settling on his shoulders. "I watched everything. Not just the clip of you stealing. But the ones before that. The way you rolled your eyes when she tried to show you photos. The way you pushed Max away when you thought no one was looking. The way you spoke about this house like it was trash." He looked up. "This is the home that raised me. The walls that heard my father's last laugh. The floors I learned to walk on. And you treated it like a waiting room before a payday." Natalie wiped her face aggressively. "You think this place raised you? Really? That's your problem. You're stuck in the past. I wanted to build a future, Eric, but all you ever wanted to do was relive childhood with your mommy and her dog." He stood now, fists clenched. "Don't call her that. And don't you dare act like I'm the one who failed. You could have had all of this, you did have it. But you let greed rot it from the inside." She snapped. "Fine. You know what? Maybe I did want more. Maybe I didn't want to spend every holiday in a dusty house with a mutt who growls at me and a woman who looks at me like I'm not good enough. I looked at you," I said gently, "like a daughter. Until you made it impossible to keep pretending." She looked between us, realizing she was cornered. No more secrets. No more pretending to be the victim. Just silence. And consequences. Later that evening, Eric told her to leave. Not in a rage, but in a calm, exhausted voice that held no room for argument. She packed fast, bitter and trembling. Max never moved from the front door, watching her with unblinking eyes. "I hope you're happy," she muttered at me. "I'm not," I said honestly. "I'm heartbroken. For Eric. For what could have been. For the fact that you never let us love you without conditions." She looked like she might scream. But Max let out a single bark, sharp as a thunderclap. And that was it. She walked out the door, for real this time. Sometimes, love blinds us. We miss the signs. We silence the growls. We forgive what shouldn't be forgiven. But truth? Truth doesn't need words. It shows up at your door. Night after night. Until you listen. Because what we ignore in silence eventually barks loud enough for the world to hear. The weeks that followed were quiet. Not empty, just still. No fake laughter echoing through the hallways. No anxious glances between rooms. No pretending. Just me, Eric, and Max. He was calmer now. Like he knew the storm had passed. No more barking at the door. No more growling in the middle of the night. He would lie by Eric's feet while he read. Or follow me into the garden, tail gently wagging as I tended the roses. One morning, I sat on the porch with a cup of tea, and Eric joined me. I kept asking myself how I didn't see it sooner, he said. I smiled, eyes on the horizon. Because you loved her. That's not a flaw, Eric. It's proof you had hope. He turned to me, voice thick. I should have believed Max. I laughed softly. He didn't need you to believe him. He just needed you to finally listen. Eric took a deep breath. What do we do now? We live, I said. We rebuild. We stop waiting for the world to collapse and start enjoying the parts that are still standing. He nodded slowly. Then reached into his pocket. It was a small velvet box. I was going to give this to her. It was my grandmother's ring. She never even knew I had it. I couldn't bring myself to trust her with it. He placed it in my palm. Keep it. Or, save it for someone who actually fits this family. Months passed. The house grew warm again. Not just in temperature, but in spirit. Eric helped me repaint the kitchen. We planted a lemon tree in the backyard. He even started volunteering at the shelter where I got Max from, said he wanted to listen more. And Max? Max became somewhat of a local legend. Every neighbor had a story about how he barked at someone sketchy, or how he led a lost child home once. He wasn't just a dog anymore. He was family. Protector. Witness. Truth-teller. One afternoon, a little girl from next door wandered into our yard, clutching a drawing. It was a crayon sketch of Max standing in front of a house, barking, while a dark figure crept away in the background. What's this, sweetie? I asked. She grinned. It's Max. Mommy says he's magic. I knelt beside her. Why's that? Because he always knows who the bad people are, she said. Even when we don't. Final narrator monologue, moral close. Sometimes, the loudest truths come from those who can't speak at all. We ignore them, thinking we know better. That love should always mean silence. That peace means pretending. But real peace? Real truth? It barks when the lies get too heavy. It growls when your heart's being twisted. And if you're lucky, it stays. Even when others walk out. So the next time something, or someone, is trying to warn you, don't shut the door. Don't raise your voice. Don't wait until it's too late. Listen. Because love doesn't always sound like words. Sometimes, it sounds like footsteps. A heartbeat. Or a dog, barking at the door.